After the Pelicans left, the Helldivers were cut off. Since the automatons still haven't adapted to the destroyers and stratagems, Jaune and his divers still had off-world support as the ships maintain their altitude and deliver all the support they can. They made do with all the support stratagems they have. The divers were all using their heaviest weapons against the automaton scum. Neptune had an ammo supply backpack, handing out ammunition to all Helldivers, while Sun was using a stalwart to suppress the enemy advance. Carden was directing the defense, while Jaune calls in for more support. Neptune: Sir, I finished handing out the ammunition. Jaune: Good, get me those coordinates so we can direct our artillery. Neptune began relaying coordinates as Jaune throws in the stratagems. Destroyer: Understood, barrage incoming. A hail of Gatling barrage and 120mm orbital barrage was underway. Jaune: Add a 380mm barrage for good measure. Destroyer: Danger close? Jaune: Danger close. The destroyer then sent out a full-on barrage of everything they had. It was able to stem the tide of automatons from advancing, and the divers were able to pick their targets within the kill zone. Another damned Hulk bruiser was rampaging towards them as Carden picked up an autocannon and started blasting to buy time for the others to get the anti-tank rockets. But as he laid down a volley, he noticed one hit caused the bruiser to buckle and appear to be stunned. He saw it was the central line of light that appears to be the machine's eyes. Carden: All anti-armor units, aim for that eye on those Hulks. Helldivers: Hurrah! They were gaining some ground until multiple drop ships arrived carrying massive amounts of bots and tanks and deployed them on the already dwindling Helldivers. Sun: Are you kidding me? Carden: Keep shooting. The tanks were able to kill some of the Helldivers as the bots was surrounding them slowly, getting in their lines. Helldiver 3: We need more support before they break our lines. Neptune: We don't have any lines. He then rushed to Jaune, who was shooting away. Neptune: Sir, our lines are overrun. We are surrounded with no way to break through. Jaune then walked around looking at all their points, evaluating their next course of action until he finally made up his mind as he returned to Neptune to relay his new orders. Jaune: Broken arrow. Neptune: Broken arrow. I repeat, broken arrow. Meanwhile, on the SCS Wings of Freedom, Team RWBY, PNR, and the rest were all recovering from the battle. Ruby was shaking the Democratic officer about Jaune. Ruby, please. You can't just leave them there. Democratic officer: I am sorry, Miss Rose, but the enemy anti-air is preventing us from deploying Pelican 1 to make an emergency extraction. So far, only Eagles can maneuver out of the anti-air's range and give support. Ruby: But they saw a couple of pilots bickering. Pelican 1: Are you crazy? That AA system took out Pelican 2. Eagle 1: They found the pilot and he's fighting alongside the divers. I can't leave those boys out there without support. Pelican 1 held her arm as he looked at her sternly. Pelican 1: Just be careful out there. Eagle 1: I promise, hun. Static. Neptune: Broken. ZZW. The DO went to the war table. Do. Repeat, last diver. Neptune: Broken arrow. Weiss. What does that mean? Eagle 1: It means a Helldiver unit is overwhelmed and have asked for every available artillery and aircraft for support. Sorry, hun, I need to go. Pelican 1: Stay safe. She rushes towards the hangar to join the entire Eagle squadron. Every Eagle fighters have all been deployed, carrying all the payload they can carry. All the orbital guns were locked and loaded, ready for action. Back to the battlefield. More survivors of the Pelican crash came as someone approached them. Carden: Who the hell are you? Galloway: Galloway, sir, war correspondent. Jaune: You know I can't guarantee your safety, soldier. Galloway: I know, sir, but more enemies are coming, sir. We saw it from the Pelican before we got shot down. Jaune: Which direction? He points to the east. Jaune: Neptune, mark that sector for bombardment. Neptune: Fire mission grid, mark 600 meters to our east. Destroyer: Understood, 380mm barrage underway. Then massive explosions rang from the distance. Jaune: That'll give us some room to breathe. Static. Eagle 1: This is Eagle One. Did you miss me, boys? Neptune. Good to hear from you, Eagle One. We need strafing runs, airstrikes, napalm, whatever you're carrying on grid marks 400 meters south, 540 meters west, and 350 meters north. Eagle One. Copy that. An eagle never miss. She and the squadron laid down a bombing campaign that made the bot rethink their strategy, as many columns of tanks were wiped out by concentrated rocket barrages. But the smaller bots keep on advancing, and with their blades they cut down a few Helldivers. Then airstrikes was able to scatter them and prevent more from getting closer, as napalm strikes caused them to halt their advance. But error will always occur no matter how much you plan. As Neptune continues to relay coordinated, Jaune noticed Eagle 1 and 2 were dangerously close. Jaune, Neptune, call it off. It's too close. Neptune, call that bitch off. But it was too late as Eagle 1 released her napalm payload. Neptune. Eagle 2 blew. Blew. Pull up. Pull. Then the bombs struck, hitting bots but also divers. The divers didn't last long due to the burns from the napalm. Neptune looks in horror at his handiwork. Jaune, Neptune. Neptune, you're keeping us alive. You forget about that one. You're doing your job, and just keep them coming. He pays him as he does his best to push his emotions back. Neptune, Eagles. Correct your distance by 400 meters. Regardless of the bombardments, the automatons advanced. But with all the bombings, they were able to create an opening as Jaune pivots their defense. Jaune, we need to find a more defensible position. The divers were forced to fall back to a creek bed, later to be dubbed Malevolon Creek. The divers fought tooth and nail as they slowly get cut down one by one until only the toughest survived. They dug in as night settled and the onslaught died down. 14 Helldivers remained.